going on, guys? Just Summits here. We're going to be doing an R1xe flow tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be remaking the scene from his AOT Phoenix flow video. I'm also going to be showing you some other effects he likes to use, so just go in the description, go to the timestamps, and you could go around. If you just want the motion attack, the shake, the flicker, you can move around. And this will be the final product that we're making, something like this. And again, I'll be showing you some other effects. So without further ado, let's get in with the shake. First thing, guys, you're going to want to do is go layer, new, adjustment layer, and you're going to want to crop it to just the size of your first clip. Now, the way he does shakes is actually, it's pretty weird. He uses 2 shakes and 2 flickers. So actually, we're going to do S_flicker first. Slap that on there. Then we're going to do a dissolve right after that. Dissolve shake. We're actually going to put another dissolve shake on there, 2 in a row. And then another flicker as well. And I'm going to show you what settings to have for that in a second. Alright, guys, so this shake is going to be the main impact shake. This one is going to be the one that just keeps it moving. So I'm going to show you what you're going to use for this. Now, this is always going to vary on your clip, so just try a couple different things. Now we're going to keyframe the dissolve percentage. Start off at 12. Keep the speed at 3. Put the amplitude again. Keyframe it at 3. The frequency, we're going to jump that up to 12 here. And then the seed, we're going to play with that later. The X shake, we're going to go all the way up to 500. Random frequency to .93. Again, all these you could change at your own leisure. Put this to 59. Down to Y, we're going to go to 610. 0.8. And then 59. Then for the Z shake, we're going to go all the way up to 700. And then 0.8 again, and that's it for this shake. Alright, so now for the second shake, as I said earlier, this is the shake that just keeps the clip moving a lot. We're going to start off with the dissolve percent, putting that to 1 and keyframing it. The speed, we're going to keep to 3, and then amplitude, keyframe that and put that down to 0. And then all this will stay the same, but this will go to 0.1. And then for the X shake, we're going to go down to 60, since we want this shake to be very small and just kind of subtle. And then Y shake, we're going to jump this up to 200. And then for the Z, we're going to go down, or up I should say, to 60. And this will be keyframed again later. For the top flicker here, we're going to go at an amplitude of 0.2. A random luma amp, we're going to keyframe that and go all the way up to 20. Then a random frequency, we're going to keyframe that again, and we're going to go to 34. And the rest you can keep the exact same. For the last effect on the shake, you're going to want to keyframe random luma amp right here at 1. And then you're going to go down to random frequency, keyframe that, and go to 36. And you can keep the rest the same. So now that we have all the effects done, we're going to open it up. And as you see, it's not going to be good here. It's going to be all shaky like that. So now we're going to have to keyframe it. So now we're going to keyframe the main shake, which is right here. And we're actually going to bump this up to 30 for right now, but that might get changed later. So we're going to go from 30. We're going to go a little bit off the adjustment layer since it's a smaller clip. We're going to go down to 0. I'm about 3 frames off the adjustment layer. By the way, I'm also editing in 23.976 if anyone's interested. And then you're going to want to keyframe it just like this. And for the graph, we're going to be doing something like this. That might get changed later. But as you can see, we're getting there a little bit, but obviously we still have a lot of fixing to do. So now for the second shake, I'm actually going to start the keyframes 1 frame later, and it's going to start at 1 and 0, and we're actually going to end it right at the end of the clip at 100. And we're going to do relatively the same graph, something like this and this. If you were to play the video now, you'd see that the video is tilting a lot, and that's easily fixed with tilt shake. Bring that down to 0. And then if you play it, basically what the second shake does, not only does it keep it moving a little bit, but at the end, it kind of impacts out of there a little bit. We might also change this graph, make it a little less stiff so there's more impact, but we'll see when we get back to it. Now for the first flicker, this is going to get changed a lot, but we're going to start off at 20. And around 3/4 through your clip, I'm going to go right around here. We're going to bring this amp down to 0. And this random frequency, we're going to mess with that later, so you can just keep that. And yeah, so now we just got to do this last flicker and then just kind of mess around with the settings a little bit. So with this last flicker, we're going to basically do what we did up here, but just the opposite. So for this one, we're actually going to go to the end though, and we're going to go from 1 over here to 30. And we're going to be changing the random frequencies for both of these a bit later. And for the graph, it's going to be basically the same. We're going to go down a little bit instead of just shifted. We're going to go down like that. And this one's actually going to go all the way over. Now this is what we have so far. As you can see, there's some motion blur on one of these shakes. So it's right here actually, shake number 2. If we go to the first shake as well, we're going to turn those off. And now what you're going to see is that these are very different. If you play it, it's going to look kind of similar, but these are different. So if you know what kind of shake you want, like right now it's zoomed in and it's below. I don't want that. I want what he has over here. So what you can do is you can go to the first shake right here, which is the main one. Go to seed. And if you like what the rest of the shake is, you could just move the seed over 1 keyframe and then just mess with it till you get what you want. So as you guys can see, when I'm moving around with the seed, the amplitude is just way too high. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to change the amplitude down so you can move your 3 keyframe, 1 forward, and then just move this down a little bit. Something like that is like almost exactly to what he has. This is his, it's mine. And if you play it, the shake is pretty similar. We're going to do some flickering right now. So now that the shake looks pretty good, we're going to be doing the flicker. We'll probably mess with the shake a little bit as well, but for the top flicker, what you're going to want to do is, when you're doing a remake like this, it's a lot easier. So basically just do it kind of on the flow of your edit, what you may want in your head. So basically he's got just a black screen right there. So that's pretty easy for me to do. I'm just going to go black solid and place it right there. And we're going to put that under that. So it flickers a lot harder. And then he has a pretty bright scene right there, which I also have. And then a darker one. And then it gets even darker right here. So I can keyframe right here, random frequency before the one I want. And you can just move this a little bit up and down. And that's dark. That's what I want. That goes up a little bit. So we'll do the same. You can also use exposure as well. Like if you just want to do it by hand, you can just use exposure and go up and down. This is usually meant for just not doing what I'm doing, but since I'm doing a remake here, I'm just going to show you how I'm doing this. Alright, once you have the flicker how you want, it's going to be changed once we add the motion detect. The whole screen will go darker with all that. I'm just going to make sure that the shake is good. I'm going to go frame by frame here. Right here, as you can see, there's a little bit of motion tile, which is weird. So we're going to add a seed again. We're going to go before, the seed again, we're going to go after, and we're just going to change just this 1 frame right here. And there, that's perfect. So as you can see, there's no motion tile. And then right at the end here, yes, right there, it goes down a little bit. We're actually going to move this amp right there and check to make sure that the graph is good. Graph looks good. We can make it a little stiffer there. So this way you have more of an impact, as you can see right there. And now I'm going to play it for you guys. Alright, well I think that's the shake done. Now we're going to move on to the effects. I might mess with the shake in a little bit, but for the most part that's good. So after further review of the shake, I ended up taking the second keyframe, changing it to 20, and then just making the graph a little sharper here. That is only because it just felt like it was shaking way too much. And now basically the shake is done. It's time to move on to the effects right now. Alright guys, so this effect right here, it's called motion detect. R1 uses it a lot here. Just going to want to add a adjustment layer the entire length of your clip. And then you're going to want to search up S_motion detect. Just apply that on. We don't have to change any settings. And then you're going to want to also go tritone. This is going to change the color of the motion detect. As you can see without it, it's a really trash color. You can't really see it in that clip. But yeah, so we're also going to add deep glow as well. That's the last thing we need to add to this. And then I'm going to obviously be choosing red for this. And then with the deep glow, I'm going to put the radius down to about 30 and the exposure to 2.3. Looks good there. And now all we're going to have to do is just mess with the opacity of the adjustment layer. So as you can see right here, we don't want it on the first clip. I don't understand why, but it just doesn't really work for me there. And then on the second clip, it's black solid. And then the third, as you can see, he has a lot less than me. So I'm going to opacity right here. And then I'm gonna go down to about, I'd say, right there. Yeah, we're gonna keep it there. We might have to fix the shake, as you can see, but that's all right. And then we're gonna go down to the next frame. Now, if you guys want to do this normally without like what I'm doing like a remake, so I'm just kind of copying his. You can just go 100 to 0 like that, and it kind of just gives some impact. You can also go 0 to 100. You could graph it as well if you want. 0 to 100 at the end, and at the end, as you see, the rain starts motion detecting. And basically, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna go down to about, yeah, we'll go down to 80. And then the next one, it seems brighter, so we're gonna go to something like that. And then the next one, it's almost not even there, so something like 30. Next one, it comes back a little bit, go about 60, down a little bit. And basically, he just kind of flickers the motion detect off the screen, and then a little bit more there, capture that. And this is also a flicker. As you can see, the screen, as I go opacity up and down, the brightness goes up and down as well. This is perfect, just matches his screen, so I'm just gonna keyframe it at 56. And then here, I'm gonna keyframe it high, something like that. We're also going to smooth, blend, and add over here. Should just help it make a little bit darker, as you see, tiny bit of a difference. And I might also just put this up to like 2.8, I guess. And then, yeah, that's good for the motion detect. So the next effect we're going to do is, actually, let me just full screen this real quick, is this side effect. As you can see, it's very noticeable full screen, and it kind of just like helps a lot. It kind of just makes the scene look a lot better. You can really tell the difference between these two. Now, there's multiple ways to do that blur on the outside, but the way I'm going to be using it is I'm going to be doing optics compensation, and this is basically just going to distort the outside. So if I bring this to, let's say, 69.9, let's do that. Oh yeah, you're also going to want to reverse that, and this is what it's going to do. It's going to distort the lens out, which is what he has. And now, to make that blur, you can add a radial blur. So just the normal one is okay. Add it right under. And we're going to go, as you can see, it's insane. We're going to go very low at 1. And I think maybe 1.5. You guys can test this out with your clip. It's all going to be different. In my example over here, I used 1. But I think I'm going to use like 1.2. And yeah, I think we're good now. There's only a couple more things we gotta do for this clip. Now, an effect that R1 uses a lot is this displacement map right here. So we're gonna be adding that as a one framer, as you see down there. A displacement map. It's going to be right here. Just add it on, and then we're just gonna need transform after that. And then you add transform, and we're gonna be using, now this, you're gonna mess with this a lot, but I'm going to be using 320. We're going to need a motion tile on top of this. Use not the preset. 200, 200, and mirror edges. Alright, so 320 is what I'm going to be using. I might actually put it down to like, yeah, I'm going to go 200, but it's going to really depend on your clip. So unless you guys are mistaken, we don't need a transform. You guys can add a transform, but it's definitely not needed. All it does is when you move it around, it just kind of moves it as a scale. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And that's the one framer done. And I also think that is this clip done. So we're just going to play it back. I think it looks pretty good. Pretty close to the original. We're going to be making a CC later. So now for the next clip. This actually, I don't even think is a shake. I just think he might have just positioned that on the X value, so something like that, and then he immediately just reset it like that. Kind of just gives it some impact. These are optical flares right here, so we're going to be adding those as well, but let's start off with the motion detect. Alright, one thing I forgot to add, because we will be doing this in the next clip, is for the motion detect right here, you're going to want to go down to deep glow, tint, and just make it red. That gets rid of any white lines in there that you definitely won't have. And the reason I say this is because when you guys copy this over right here to the next clip, you're gonna have a crap ton of white. At least I do for this clip. So easy way of fixing that is go down to tint and just make it the same color. Now what we're gonna do is just kind of remake this scene. Now when I did it myself, this happened to me. I don't know what he did to not do that, but it really doesn't matter. It just kind of acts as a one framer. So we're gonna go 100 right here, and next clip, as you see the background, it's going ham, so we're gonna bring it down to something like that, and then we're gonna keep going. That looks like it might have, no, we're just gonna keep it the same right there. His went down definitely, but I actually have to bring mine up a little bit. You guys will have to mess with the exposure a lot. I'm probably gonna go up to 250 and then screen and add. It's not much of a difference, but you can always do that. And you can always mess with the brightness here as well, but I usually just use deep color for that. So looking at his, I noticed that his radius is a lot higher, so I'm going to turn this down a little bit and turn the radius up, and then I'm just going to keep copying his motion detect. Now when you guys are using this, you guys can just go from 0 to 100 or 100 to 0. I'm only doing it like this just so I can try and get the exact remake. Alright guys, so that's the motion detect done, kind of just comes off, fades out. As you can see, he has a shake on there. He also has these raindrops, man. I don't even know how he has them in there, because they are on this clip, but right in the beginning, right after this. But I have no idea how he has them on there. It really doesn't matter though. So what's left is just the optical flares and then a shake, and then we're done. Now for the shake, we're actually just going to be using a wiggle position right here, and we're going to have it at 17 on the top and then 4 on the bottom. And as you can see here, let's play it. Adds a very nice subtle shake to it. You can always make it higher. I think he has his higher. We'll go 7. Try that. I don't know if you guys can see at the top, but we have to add a motion tile to this. I have a preset that I use, same thing, just add the regular one and add motion detect. So I'm actually going to opacity this layer here. As you see, when you go down to 0, the shake obviously goes away. So I'm going to start at around, say, 60. And at the end, I'm going to go to 100. And I'm just going to do a very, very non-stiff, just loose graph like that. And then it should build up this time instead of just keep going like that. Can actually have it a little bit less loose, and I'm going to bring this up to 70, and that should be good. Alright, I like that. So now all we have to do now is just the optical flares. Now to add these, you're going to need a solid, so however you add your solids, I use this. You can use effect, new, and solid. Then all we're just going to have to do is add the optical flare video copilot plugin here. And you're going to want to go to options. You're going to want to just clear all here. Yes. Add a glow, add a streak, and then we're done. Go over here to render mode and go to transparent. For color, I'm going to go up to red. You can just use the color tab right there. And as you see, it is very bright, so we're going to have to change that. Alright, so now for the settings, it's going to depend on your clip. But for this one, I've noticed that around 50 brightness works and 40 scale. And for the first one, for the first frame right here, you're going to want to keyframe the position. And then you can just click wherever you want it. I want it right about there. But I'm also going to put the opacity very far down for this one. Something like 47. And then for this one, as you see, not a lot of movement at all actually. We're going to use the same opacity and then position it to her right eye. And then she starts moving around. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to position, bam, and put the opacity up to, say, 70. And basically what you're going to want to do for the rest of the clip is just track your optical glow with these keyframes right here to wherever you want it to be. So as you guys can see right here, I have it tracked. Now all I'm going to do for the other eye is just copy and paste this and do the same thing. I'm not going to do it on video because we just did it. Okay, now there's both the optical flares done. Now all we have to do left is the CC and just an exposure flicker above. So the only reason I'm adding this exposure is because I can tell that R1xe, he has a lot of exposed scenes over here. that I didn't get with my flickers. So something like this, for example, obviously my flicker is not being that exposed. And we're also going to mess with the brightness of these and flicker those as well. But first, I'm just going to match my exposure to his scene. You guys can just do whatever you want. You can make your own flicker, or you can just skip this part in general. Alright, so I just did the flickering. The optical glow could be a little bit better, but just for the sake of the tutorial, I kind of did it quickly. Now, one framer the R1 uses a lot it's just a VHS. Now, we're going to be using Uni VHS twice, and I'll show you guys what we're going to do on that. Alright, now for the settings for the top one, we're going to be using black level at 0, saturation at 200, luminance blur at 0, chroma blur at 0, and these two can be kept the same. Then for tape damage, we're going to enable it and open it up. We're going to be using VHS noise at 1.1, 25%, and 560 right here. And then offset, we're going to use that at 64, this at 100, and this at 20. And then we're going to be changing the tape style down to U-matic. For the second VHS, we're going to be using almost the same settings as 0, 200, 0, 0, 5, and 5. And we're going to be coming down to channel controls here, -4, 28.9, 64, 108, 0, and then 45. And then we're going to be changing this to U-matic. As you can see, it looks basically the same, if not better than that. And to do what he did there, it's just a very simple position change down here. Just keyframe X right there. And on this, I move it over one, obviously. And then on this, oh, never mind. Now ours is if not better than his, but to do that, it's very simple. You're just going to want to position over here. It's on the Y axis. You can do X, you can do Z, you can do whatever. And just go down here to right around there. And now we are basically done. All we have to do left is the CC. So for the CC, the first effect we're going to be adding is looks. This is what everyone uses for CCs basically. And then we're going to go inside of it. First thing we're going to add is color star right here. Right here. Add it in. And we're actually not going to be changing these. All we're going to be doing is a couple things here. We're going to be bringing the orange back a little bit. We're going to be bringing the purple out like that. And we're going to be bringing the aqua over here. The blue out a little bit, right about there. Move that over a little bit. And then the purple will go right there. And then for the graph down here, you can either punch in the numbers that are on the screen right now, or you can just roughly do it, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like that and like this. Now if you guys ever feel like you're behind or you don't know what you're doing, I'm going to leave the project file of this in the description so you guys can use that if you want. I'm going to bring that down a little bit, and now let's get on to the next effect. Alright, so we're actually supposed to add color star to the subject, so I'm going to add that over there. And then we're going to be using curves as well. And we're just going to do a simple curves here. We're going to have that up and that down just ever so slightly like that. After curves, the last effect we're going to be adding is HSL colors right here. And all we're going to be doing is touching the yellow right here. We're going to go here at 34.8. Then saturation, we're going to go -34.1. And that's all we're going to be doing in looks, but we're going to add one more effect. Next effect we're going to be using is right here, brightness and contrast. We're just going to put that right under, and we're going to use -56 because the CC just makes everything super bright. So let's go to a normal spot here. As you can see, that's with the CC, without. If I put this above, you'll see the CCs are a bit different, but they're both good and they both work. So here is the final product. It could be probably a bit better, but I did this pretty quick for the sake of the tutorial. We might add a little bit more to this. I might show you guys a couple more effects. If not, let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this tutorial and any others you want me to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys later.